backup we can take it using either manual approach or using recovery manager. So manual approach we already saw how to take the backup and how to perform the restoration and recovery. The second thing is how to take the backups using rman, which is recovery manager. So rman is a utility which comes with the Oracle software. So whenever you install the Oracle software, rman utilities comes with the software, with that software. So using that tool, you can take the backup of the database. So using rman, you can either take full database backup, you can take a tablespace backup, you can take a data file backup, or else you can take just arcalog file backups, arcalog files backup. So these are the various backups which you can take using rman. Now, so we already saw when we are taking backup with manual approach, we can do all these things. For example, if you want to take the backup of full database, you'll go ahead and take the backup of full database. That means you'll copy the data files, arcalog files to a different location. If you want to take a single table space backup, in that case, we'll only copy the files which are related to that table space. And if you want to take the arcalog file backups, we'll copy it to a different location. We'll copy the arcalog files into a different location. And if you want to take a backup of single data file, you can copy one data file from that database location to another location. So it's the same type of backup, you can also perform it with manual approach. But the thing is, if you want to take a table space or data file backup, instead of issuing alter database begin backup mode, we'll go for alter tablespace name begin backup, because we're only taking a tablespace backup, not a database backup. So we'll go for alter tablespace name begin backup. Only that particular tablespace will be in backup mode. Yeah, I'm getting resound. Hello? Yeah, it's good now.
Yeah.
So the same backups you can take it with rman. Now we already know the output of manual backup approach will be image copies. That means it will have the same extensions as the source files. So we'll have .dbf and .arc files, which are arcalog files. But output of rman, you can take two types of backups, two types of backup types using rman. One is backup set and other one is image copy. Image copy is similar to manual approach. For example, if the data file size is 30 GB and used space in the file is 10 GB, even though only 10 GB has been used in the 30 GB data file, even the rest of the 20 GB blocks, even though they are empty, they'll be copied whenever you do a manual backup approach. Because you're copying the backups as an image, you're doing cp command. That means it will just image the copy, it will just image the source copy. In a similar way, using rman, if you want to take image copy backups, you can take image copy backup. That means even the 10 GB space is used, the whole 30 GB will be backed up. If you want to go for backup set, it is different. Only 10 GB which is used, 10 GB, only the used space will be backed up. Only the used space will be backed up. So either you can go for backup set or image copy depending upon your requirement. But most of the companies prefer to go for backup set because it will save the space and it will increase the backup execution time. Now, why we require rman? Why can't we do everything with the manual backup approach? We already saw the manual backup, but there are several disadvantages with manual backup. One is, what is the main disadvantage of manual backup?
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Hello? Yeah.
A lot of archeolog generation. Lot of redo will be generated. This is one of the main disadvantage of manual backup. Lot of redo will be generated. The other thing is each and every time you're taking the backup. For example, which I showed you was a simple backup thing, because I took the backup of database and I showed you the recovery options. But in the real time, you'll be taking the backup of database each and every day. So you need to keep track of the backups which I took. I mean, like for example, okay, the Monday backups are stored in this location, Tuesday backups are stored in this location, Sunday backups are stored in a different location. So you need to keep track of everything. You need to maintain a spreadsheet. You need to specify all the information when the backup was taken, to which location the backup is taken, and also depending upon the scenario. For example, if your company wants the database at any time, the database needs to be restored not more than 7 days. That means the backups which you took and which are older than 7 days, you don't need them. That means you can delete the files. So using this, you need to keep track of all those things and you need to delete the files manually which are older than 7 days.
Okay.
Manually we have to keep track of the backups and deletions. Next thing is, as I said, if even though 10 GB is used, the total data file will be backed up. This is also one of the disadvantages because it will consume a lot of space. Next thing, the another disadvantage of manual backup is there are chances that the backup files may contain corrupted blocks. We already saw this one. Same block has information related to multiple transactions because of the different block size at OS level and operating Oracle database. Because of that, the single block will contain information related to two transactions, which is not the correct block. So in order to make it consistent, it will apply the arclog files and it will recover when we go for manual backup approach. But still, our backup will contain those corrupted blocks. But if you go for rman, that is not the case. So this is one of the disadvantage of rman backup. This is one of the disadvantage of manual backup. Next thing is, you cannot, uh, yes. For example, on Monday, you took full database backup and the size of the database was 100 GB. As a result, you took 100 GB of backup. Now on Tuesday, out of 100 GB, 10 GB data was modified and additional 10 GB of data is added. Now, if I want to take the full database backup on Tuesday, I have to go for 100 plus 10 GB, which is being added. So altogether, I have to take 110 GB of backup again. There is no mechanism which will keep track of what are the changes which are occurred from the previous backup. So as a result, again I have to take the backup of full database. I have to take the whole 100 GB and then 10 GB. As I already have the 100 GB database, as I already have the 100 GB backup, if I can take 10 GB of data which was modified and 10 GB of additional data, which is 20 GB. If there is a mechanism which will keep track of changes which have happened from the previous backup, then I can just take the backup of only 20 GB of data instead of 110 GB. Correct? So there is no mechanism to go for incremental approach. This approach is called as an incremental approach, taking the backup of only changed blocks. There is no scope for incremental backups. So these are the drawbacks of manual backup, and all these drawbacks are addressed in rman. So the first thing is, when we use rman, no redo will be generated. Second thing is, we don't need to keep track of backup information, and we don't need to keep track of files which are older than the 7 days. So it will automatically manage everything. Backup information and obsolete files. Obsolete files means the files which are older than 7 days. Obsolete files. Because my company policy is, at any time the database needs to go back till last 7 days, but not more than that. That means the rest of the files will be obsolete for me. Next, uh, it will only back up the used space. So out of 30 GB, if 10 GB is used, only 10 GB will be backed up. Next, the thing is, there is no chance for corruption, because every time it takes the backup of a data file, it will calculate the checksum. Using the checksum, it will determine whether the block is corrupted or not. If the block is corrupted, it will not continue with the backup. If the block is not corrupted, then it will back up the things. So there is no chance for corruption, because there is a mechanism which will detect whether there is a corruption in the database or not, whether the block is corrupted or not. And we can also take incremental backups. That means we can only take the backup of changes which have happened from the previous backups. So that is the reason why we'll be going, nowadays most of the, all the companies, 100% of the companies will be using the rman. No manual approach will be used. Till Oracle 8i, DBS used to take the backup using the manual approach. Starting from Oracle 9i, rman has been introduced, and Oracle recommends to use rman tool, rman utility, to take the backups and to perform the restoration and recovery whenever required, because it offers several advantages when compared with manual backup. Now, rman itself is a utility, so it's an executable file. So if you want to invoke rman, we'll just type in rman. This will invoke rman. In a similar way, if you want to invoke SQL+, we'll just type in SQL+. Next, whenever you're dealing with rman, there are some terms you have to know. One is target database. Second is catalog database. Third is auxiliary instance. No, forget about this one. We'll see about this afterwards. And then repository. That's it. So target database is the database for which we are taking backup. That means if you want to take the backup of dev database, the target database is dev. So it is a database for which we are taking backup. Next, we'll see what is a catalog database. As I said here, rman can automatically manage the backup information. That means it should have some tables inside the database which will keep track of when the backup was taken, what is the backup size, whether the backup was successful or not, and everything. So there should be some schema, or there should be some tables in which the backup information needs to be stored. Okay. By default, backup information will be stored on control file, and it will be retained in control file for control file record keep time. So whatever the value you specify for the parameter control file record time, based upon that value, it will retain the information. For example, if control file record keep time is set to 7 days, only 7 days of information will be stored in control file. Now, if your company policy is at any time you have to go back till 30 days. So if something happens, for example, for each and every quarter there will be a major release. That means there will be a lot of changes which will be occurring on the database. Now, if those changes cause any problem to the database, after for example, the release was made on May, and after 1 month they found that this release is not the proper one which you want, we have to go back to the previous quarterly release. That means you have to go back by 1 month. That means we have to have the backups till 1 month. So using those backups, we can restore the database back to 1 month. Okay. So in that case, if the control file record keep time is set to 7 days, we cannot go back to 30 days. The reason for that is it doesn't know the information. Even though the backups are present, rman will not know the information, because in control file only 7 days of information will be stored. Okay. So now either you can increase the value from 7 to 30 by specifying 30. You can store the backup information for 30 days. But there is a problem with this one. If you increase the control file record keep time, it will increase the control file size. As it increases the control file size, your input output operations performance will be affected, because each and every second the control file will be touched by Oracle to update the SCN and all the information. So if the control file is growing in a larger size, then it will impact the input output performance. So that is the reason why it is not suggestible, or it is not recommended to increase control file record keep time. Now, if you want to store the information, if you want to store the backup information for more than 7 days, Oracle provided another mechanism to keep track of those things. For that, you have to maintain a catalog database. That means you will be having another database. In that database, there will be some set of tables which will store the backup information. As those are tables, there is no limitation. It will store all the backup information for n number of days. So the database which we'll use to store the backup information will be a catalog database. Apart from control file. Yes, catalog database. The third one is repository. Repository is nothing but the schema or set of tables which will store backup information. Inside the database there should be some schema which will be holding the backup information, and that schema is the catalog schema, and the tables are repository because they will store the information related to the backups. Any doubts till now?
Good idea.
So please remember control file record keep time. So by default the repository information will be stored in control file, and it will be retained for value depending upon control file record keep time. By default this value is set to the parameter is set to 7.
Okay.
So this is optional, the catalog database. If you want to store backup information for more than 7 days, then you have to opt for catalog database. If you don't want it, I mean, like you don't need the catalog. That means there is no need of another database to be created. Now I'll show you how to take the backup of the database.
We will create the catalog database, or I mean.
Yeah, we have to create a database, and then we'll be creating a repository. I mean, we'll be creating a schema in it, and we'll store the backup information in that schema.
Okay.
So first I'll show you how to take the backup without using a catalog option. That means we'll be storing the information in control file itself. And before going that, I'll show you how rman works. So see here, rman works in this way. First, using rman utility, we'll invoke rman utility and we'll connect to the database. So as a result, corresponding server process for rman client will be created on the database, and this rman process will access the control file. Because if you want to know what are the data files, what are the read log files, and what is our catalog destination, where should we have to go? The information is present in the control files, correct or not?
Yeah.
So this rman process will access the control file, will get all the details. It will get the information about data files, everything which needs to be backed up. After that, it will build up a worker process that and it will assign the job to the worker process. So that worker process will access the data files, and then it will be checked up. Here it will perform the verification. Once the blocks are accessed from the data files, it will be verified by the rman process whether the blocks are corrupted or not. If the blocks are not corrupted, then it will store the block into backup piece.
Okay.
Backup set చెప్పాం కదా, backup set అనుకోండి. For now, just think that this is a backup set.
Okay.
So these are rman process works. First it will access the control file, and then it will build up the necessary working process which I mean like regarding what data files needs to backed up and everything, and then it will assign the jobs to channels. Channels is similar to worker process in data pump.
Okay.
Now in order to connect to the target database using rman, first we have to set up the environment to the target database. So my target database is demo. Now to connect to the target database, we'll use rman target slash. That's it. By using this command, we'll connect to target database. Okay, so this database was created as a I mean like using manual approach, right? So yeah, this package is not existing here. So let us do one thing. Show it on a different server.
Yeah. So I connect to the system.
Yeah, కానీ ఇప్పుడు 2 databases కావాలి కదా.
కావాలా?
Catalog క్రియేట్ చేయాలి కదా.
Okay. Okay.
Database name is dev here. So let me set it to dev. And using rman target slash will connect to target database. And by providing slash, you're connecting in as sys user.
Okay.
And you don't need to specify as sysdba while connecting with rman.
Okay.
So it will show you our recovery manager, the release version of the recovery manager, which is 11.2.01, and this I'm trying to connect to target on June 9th, 11.2. Okay, now you can see it is connected to target database and the database name is dev, and for each and every database there will be ID assigned to the database, and that database ID is this one. So once you
Okay.
connect to rman target, it will show you to which database you connected to. After that, there will be some configuration parameters in recovery manager. If you want to list all the configuration parameters, the command will be show all. This will list all the configuration parameters which are available with rman. So all these are configuration parameters. By using these configuration parameters, you can set whether you want to take the backup on disk or whether you want to take the backup on tape. And next, for how many days you want to retain the backup. You want to retain the backup for 7 days, 10 days or 30 days. And then how you want to take the backup of the database. Whether you want to go for image copy or whether you want to go for backup set. And whether you want to enable the compression, whether you want to enable the compression algorithm, whether you want to go for encryption, and whether you want to configure the encryption algorithm. Everything we can configure it using configuration parameters. These are the configuration parameters available with Recovery Manager. So we'll see one by one. The first one is configure retention policy to recovery window of 2 days. That means at any time it will retain the backup for 2 days.
Okay.
If this retention policy, you can set it either using recovery window or using redundancy. Redundancy means how many copies of backup you want to store. So for example, if I make configure retention policy to redundancy 2, that means it will only keep 2 copies of backups. That means if I take full database backup now and after 2 hours if I take full database backup again, so there are 2 backup copies available. After 2 hours if I take third backup, one of the backup will be obsolete because at any time I want to have only 2 copies of the backup. So either you can mention how many copies you want or you can mention for how many days you want to retain. So if you want to mention days, you have to go for recovery window. If you want to mention copies, you have to go for redundancy. Next configuration parameter is backup optimization. Backup optimization is nothing but, for example, if you take the backup of a data file at 11 a.m. and at 1 p.m. if you want to take the backup of data file again, if there are no changes occurred on the data file, that means at 1 p.m. also it will be an identical version for, when compared to the previous backup. So when they are identical, it will not take the backup of the data file. If the changes have not been performed on the data file, then it will not take the backup of the data file. So this is nothing but backup optimization. If the no changes occurred on a data file when compared to the previous backup, then those data files will not be backed up. This is nothing. That is nothing but you need to turn on backup optimization. If you don't want to use this feature, you can change that using configure backup optimization off. Just you'll copy paste the same thing, just you will change the values here. If you see here, I changed like configure retention policy to redundancy 2. The same thing I copied, configure retention policy 2. After that I went for redundancy 2. In a similar way, I have to turn off the backup optimization. I'll go for configure backup optimization off. Next, whether you want to take the backup on disk or whether you want to take the backup on tape. So here configure default device type to disk. That means whenever it is typed to disk, I'll be taking the backup onto disk. If you want to configure to the tape, you'll go for configure default device type to SBT. SBT is nothing but standard backup tape. Next, so whenever you're taking the backup of a database, by default only data files will be backed up. If I issue, for example, as I said, I can take a backup of table space and I can take the backup of data file, correct? So if I do backup table space, only table space will be backed up. If I do backup data file, only data file will be backed up. But if I take backup database, all the data files and control file will be backed up. Okay, but if I want to, each time I'm taking a backup of a table space or a data file, if I want to take the backup of control file also automatically, then I have to turn on the control file auto backup on. So if I have control file auto backup on, that means if I'm taking table space backup or data file backup, even in that cases, it will back up the control file. Clear till now?
Okay. Yeah.
Next, configure control file auto backup format. This is nothing but whenever you're taking, if you turn on the control file auto backup, where you want to take the control file backup and in which format you want to take the control file backup. As I'm taking the backup on disk, I'll configure the control file backup also for type disk.
Okay.
Next, with what parallelism you want to perform the backup. This option is not available with manual backup approach because you have to go for CP option. There is no parallelism. But in rman you can enable parallelism. That means if you have to take the backup of 100 GB, it will be distributed among the channels which will be allocated as part of parallelism.
Okay.
So if I enable parallelism as 4, that means 100 GB will be distributed among 4 channels of each 25 GB. Each channel will be working on 25 GB. As a result, the backup execution time will be lesser. So if you want to enable the parallelism, you'll be configuring the device type disk parallelism 4 or 5, and then you'll be specifying what should be the backup type, whether you want to go for backup set or whether you want to go for image copy. If you want to go for image copy, we'll specify backup type to copy. If you want to go for backup set, we'll specify backup type to backup set. Next, you don't need to worry about these two parameters. Next, this also you don't need to worry about it. Actually, if you want to enable the encryption, you have to turn on the encryption and you have to specify the algorithm which you want to go for encryption.
Okay.
And what should be the compression and compression algorithm. If you want to go for compression, it will compress the backups based upon how what compression algorithm you specify. Basically, there are basic, medium, and high. So basic means it will compress it will compress to a very less extent. So medium means average, and then high. It will save a lot of space, but it will increase the execution time. And then arcalog deletion policy. That means we face several issues whenever we are taking the backup of whenever we are doing a lot of DML activity. Arcalog destination was filled up, correct?
Yeah.
So using rman we can also configure arcalog deletion policy, saying that the arcalog files which are older than 4 hours, you can go ahead and delete them.
Okay.
Before deleting them, you can backup. So you can configure an rman job in such a way that you can back up the arcalog files and delete the arcalog files from the disk.
Okay.
Or from the arcalog destination. So it will take the backup to a different location and then it will delete the arcalog files. So that also you can configure it. Configure auto arcalog deletion policy. For example, if you want to go for 2 days, you will specify configure arcalog deletion policy to cstate -2. So at any time, 2 days arcalog files will be present in arcalog destination and rest of the arcalog files will be deleted.
Okay.
And the last option is snapshot control file. So whenever you are trying to take a backup of a database or a table space, it actually creates a snapshot of the control file. For example, if you're invoking a backup database command at 10 a.m., it will take the snapshot of control file at 10 a.m. and it will store that control file into a location specified in this configuration parameter. Then according to that SCN, it will copy the content from the data file. In manual backup approach, what was happened? Checkpoint was not being updated. As a result, a lot of arcalog was generated and we were able to take the consistent backup. But
Okay.
in rman, what we'll do is we'll create a snapshot. It will create a snapshot control file, and according to the SCN which is present in the snapshot control file, it will take the backup of the blocks only to till that particular SCN. So for that, it will require a snapshot control file. and you have to specify the location where you want to store that where you want to store the snapshot control file.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to change any of the parameters, you'll just go ahead and copy the entire thing and you'll change the value which you want to go for. That's it.
Okay.
After that, if you want to rman process to access the control file and to get the information about what are the data files present in the database, the command will be report schema. So this will show you what are the table spaces which are present in a database. Okay.
Okay.
So the permanent table spaces and temporary table space. One second, let me check this one because we want two databases now. Okay, this is completed. Let us go ahead and check again. Yep, I'm able to connect now. So catalog సరిగ్గా ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవ్వలేదు అనుకుంటా, అందుకే కనెక్ట్ అవ్వలేదు ఇందాక. Yeah, it's done now. And will be stored in control file itself. So without creating any catalog, we'll take the backup of the database. So we'll be using the control file itself to store the backup information. Now, before doing that, there are some views which are related to rman, which will show you everything. So for example, select, I don't remember the exact names. So what I'll do, select view underscore name from db underscore views, where view underscore name, like I know it contains rman somewhere. The object name contains rman in between. So these are the views which will give you the information about rman backups. Now we saw how to list all the configuration parameters when connected to rman. By issuing show all, we'll see all the configuration parameters. In a similar way, if you want to check those configuration parameters from within the database itself, select star from $rman underscore configuration. Even this will show you all the configuration parameters. Okay, it hasn't, if you see here, it hasn't showed anything, right?
Yeah.
The reason for that is everything is using default configuration values.
Okay.
So let me change one of the parameter and I'll show it. Let me change the redundancy level from 1 to 2. Configure retention policy to redundancy 2. Don't confuse from the previous one. That's a different database and this is a different database. I am changing the redundancy to 2 now. After that, I will change control file auto backup on. Configure control file auto backup on. Then I want to change the parallelism also. So I want to change the parallelism to 4. Now if I issue the same command again, it will show me all the configuration parameters which are changed. Retention policy I changed, configure control file auto backup on, device type parallelism 4. So you can look at the parameters, which you can look at the configuration parameters which are changed when compared to the default values using this view. Okay. Next, if you want to know what is the output of rman backup, whether the rman backup is succeeded or not, we'll get that using $rman underscore output. This view will give you the information about rman backup status, and all this view will access the control file to get the information. So it will have only information related to 7 days, not more than that. And describe v dollar rman underscore status. This will show you the status of rman jobs. Now let us go ahead and take the backup of full database backup of test database. So to take the backup of a database, we'll issue the command backup database. This will take the backup of data files, control file. Now before taking the backup of this database, where in which location the backups will be stored? Any idea? So by default, whenever you are taking a backup using rman utility, it will be stored in flash recovery area. Show parameter recovery. This will show you the flash recovery destination. DB recovery file list is a parameter which will show you the flash recovery area destination. If you see here, the value is set to null.
Okay.
Whenever the flash recovery area location is set to null, the backups will be stored in Oracle Home followed by DBS. So first it will look at recovery file list parameter. If recovery file list parameter is not set, it will go for Oracle Home / DBS location. So now let us go ahead and set this parameter, DB recovery file list. So alter system set DB recovery file underscore dest equal to, I'll make it point to /backup/test. Okay. But if you want to enable this destination, you also need to set what will be your recovery destination size. So we have to specify the recovery destination size also. So before enabling file dest, you have to specify the size of recovery destination. So alter system set DB recovery file list size. I'll set the destination size to 2 GB. No. And these are dynamic parameters, so you can go ahead and change it straight away. Okay, now the recovery file list is set, so my backups will be going into /backup/test. But before going into that, let us go ahead and delete some of the older backups which we took using manual approach. Okay, now everything is set. We'll go ahead and issue backup database command. See here under /backup/test, I have nothing now, just the control file. Let me delete that also.
Okay.
Okay, now I doesn't have anything. I'll just go ahead and issue the backup database command. We'll see where the files will be stored. So if you see here, I specified parallelism 4. That means 4 channels will be allocated. Channel 1, 2, 3 and 4. And each channel will be working on each data file.
Okay.
And it will show you what file it is being backed up now. So channel 1 is accessing user 01, channel 2 under table space, 3 system, 4 sysocs. And in the meanwhile, you can connect to the database. You can issue select status run v $rman underscore status. So it shows it is running. So you can check the status of rman job, whether it's running or not. So in a similar way, if you want to check the data pump job status, we'll be using dba data pump jobs. Okay. To check rman status, we'll be using v $rman underscore status. You can also look at the output log file of rman in describe in v $rman underscore output. Select output from $v underscore output. So it's the same thing. Whatever it is printing here, it will show up here also. Okay, now the backup is completed. If I issue the same command again here, you'll have finish control file and SP file auto backup at 9 June 2013. That is what here. So whatever it is printing over here, it will be stored in $rman underscore output also.
Okay.
Now the backup is completed. If you want to list what are the files which you backed up, we'll be using the command list backup summary. This will list the files which are backed up. I want to know what files are backed up actually.
Okay.
So if you see here, okay, the summary will show you when the backup was completed and what are the various files it copied. It will just show the tag, it will not show you the exact file. If you want to list the file, you have to go for list the backup. That's it. So if you see here, in backup set, you will have backup pieces. In backup set, you will have backup pieces. So what is the difference between a backup set and backup piece? Backup set is a logical entity, so it is not a physical thing. It will not physically existing on the disk. It is just a logical entity and it will know only to the Oracle. Backup set. Backup set will hold set of data files, log files or control file. Backup piece is the actual piece which is related to the physical file. That means a data file or a control file or a read log file or an RK log file. So backup is a physical entity and it will correspond to one data file or one control file. Whereas backup set is a logical entity which will have set of backup pieces. Now if you see here, the backup piece 1 has one file and that is CSOX file. Next, backup piece 2. Backup piece 2 has users data file. Backup piece 3 has undo table space. Okay, so all the data files are backed up along with control file and SP file. So even parameter file is backed up. So whenever you issue backup command, even SP file will be backed up. And control file is also backed up. What are the rest of the files which you have to take the backup now? If you want to take a full database backup.
RK log files.
Yeah, so after issuing backup database, you have to issue backup archive log all. This will back up all the archive log files from the archive log definition. Okay? Yeah.
Current read log files ని archive చేయాలండి. అది కూడా
Yeah. It's better to, yeah, that's correct. If it's better to archive the current read log file. Now, if you want to archive the current read log file from within the rman itself, so we are trying to execute a SQL command from within the rman. So in order to do that, we'll issue the command SQL. After that, alter system archive log current. By specifying SQL in the beginning, we are specifying to the rman that it is a SQL command. So please go ahead and execute in the database. So you can execute SQL commands from within the rman also.
Okay.
After that, we'll be issuing backup archive log all. This will back up the archive log files. Okay. Failure of backup command, expected archive log file not found. Loss of archive log comprises recoverability. Error identifying /backup/demo. Yeah. The reason for that is I wantedly did this one. It is saying that the archive log, it is expecting for this archive log file, okay, 1_12.
Okay.
But this archive log file is not present in that location. 1_12 archive log file is not present in that location. Let us go ahead and check it out. cd/backup/demo. This is my archive log destination, okay?
Okay.
cd/backup/demo. But the directory is not existing here.
Okay.
So what happened was when the directory was not created, the arclog files were created under slash backup itself, saying backup one. I mean, like, let me show you that. cd slash backup. The arclog files are created under backup itself, demo one.
Okay.
But now when we are issuing the command, I mean, when we are issuing backup arclog all, it actually looks at log archive test one parameter, and it will try to find the arclog files under demo folder. But the arclog
Okay.
files are not present, correct or not?
Yeah.
So as a result, it is saying that the files are not present in that location. So what we can do is like we'll create a directory called as demo,
Them.
or else we can change the arclog destination to slash backup itself. So let us
Okay.
go ahead and change the arclog destination parameter. Alter system set log archive dest
Okay.
one. Correct है था?
Yeah. Yeah.
These all will set the arclog destination. Now
Yeah.
let us issue the command again. Do you think it will back up the arclog files now?
Uh, no.
Why?
That particular no backup arcade update. That I mean it's checking for particular arcade file, right? So it's
Yeah,
not there. In,
no. The reason for that was in the earlier case, it was trying to find it in demo data, demo folder. But
okay.
demo folder was not existing. Now we made log archive dash to point to slash backup. That means it has to search for the arclog files under slash backup now. Correct
Okay.
or not? Now
Yeah.
what will happen? See. Still it is unable to, still it is going for slash backup slash demo.
Okay.
The reason for that is whenever we issue alter system arclog current, it will update in the control file saying that the arclog file was sent to that location.
Okay.
So what we can do now is we'll delete all the arclog files because we don't require them now. I'll just delete
Okay.
them. rm minus rf demo start.dbf. And after that we have to let the rman know that we deleted all the arclog files. So in order to let the rman know, we'll be using the command cross check archive log all. This will cross check all the arclog files and it will update according to that. Okay. Okay, now it everything it validated. So as a result, it will not try to take the backup of these arclog files. Now what we'll do is we'll issue alter system archive log current SQL alter system archive log. Archive log is based on archive log के.
Yeah. Think archive space log.
Okay. Yeah. So now I can issue backup arclog file. That error was different. Okay. That is because of the destination was not set properly.
Yeah.
So we have to cross check arclog all, and after that we have to back up the arclog files. This time will not have any error. It will take the backup of the arclog files. Okay. Done now. Now if you want to check again, we'll do list backup. So now we'll also have the arclog files. Let us check it out. Okay, list of arclog files in backup set.
Yeah.
So it has the thread sequence number 29. So sequence number 29 was archived and it has the arclog file backup. So these are, we'll check what are the files which we backed up using list backup. Okay.
Okay.
And by default, for each and every backup, it will assign a tag. So a tag is a logical entity again. It will just tell you when the file was backed up. If you see here on 2013, 9th June at 11:35, the backup was taken. That is what
Okay.
this tag name. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if you want to take just a table space backup, we'll go for backup, table space, users. This will back up the table space users. Now, if you see here, even though we set the parallelism to 4, only one channel will be working on it, because at a time one channel can work on one data file, and we are only taking the backup of one data file.
Okay.
Even though 4 channels are allocated, only one channel was actually performing the work. Next, as we set control file auto backup on, automatically control file and SP file will be backed up.
Okay.
Now, in a similar way, if you want to take the backup of a data file, we'll go for backup data file. You can specify the file number or file location. Just if you don't know the file name exactly, you can just do report schema and then you can specify it here. Backup data file. File number is 1. For example, if I want to take the backup of system data file, I'll just go for backup data file 1. Okay. This is how we'll take the backup of the database. And in a similar way, if you want to take the backup of arclog files, I showed you backup arclog all, correct? So that will backup all the arclog files. Now, if you just want to take the backup of arclog files which are generated from last 1 hour, for that we'll go
Okay.
for backup archive log all completed before sysdate minus 1 by 24. Sysdate minus 1 by 24 is nothing but last 1 hour. One second. Backup archive log all until time sysdate minus 1 by 24. So this will take the backup of the arclog files. See here, this will take backup of all the arclog files which are generated before 1 hour. It will not take the backup of last 1 hour arclog files. It will take the backup of all the arclog files which are generated before 1 hour. That means the
1 hour.
last 1 hour backup, the last 1 hour arclog files will be stored on the disk, and rest of the arclog files will be backed up onto the another location. Until time correctly. Okay, this should be not all. Backup arclog until time sysdate minus 1 by 24. So this will only take, it will take backup of all the arclog files which are generated before last 1 hour. Okay, after that it will not delete the arclog files which are backed up. ఇప్పుడు మార్నింగ్ 9 నుంచి 12 వరకు అనుకోండి, 9 నుంచి 11 వరకు అనుకోండి. We already backed up all the arclog files which are generated from 9 to 10, for example. The last 1 hour is not backed up. Okay.
Okay.
Now that means we already took the backup of arclog files which are generated from 9 to 10. So we don't require them to be stored on the disk, correct or not? Because we already have it on the backup. So now if you want to delete them, first you have to check it. First you have to check out what are the obsolete arclog files which are present. So to do that, we'll list obsolete. No? Okay. Report obsolete will show you the obsolete files. Report obsolete. Okay, if you see here, report obsolete showed you can remove the control file and snapshot control file. You can just remove these two files. Why? Because I set the retention policy to redundancy 2, correct?
Yeah.
So when I took the backup of a database, control file and SP file is also backed up because I turned on control file auto backup on. Next, I took the backup of a table space. Even in this case, control file and SP file was backed up. After that, I took a backup of data file. Even in this case, control file and SP file is backed up. As I set the redundancy to 2, one of the backups should be obsolete because only 2 copies needs to be present. So the control file and SP file which are backed up as part of full database backup, those are obsolete now. Okay. So obsolete will check according to the redundancy parameter which you set, and it will report the obsolete files. So in this case, the obsolete files are this one, control file and SP file.
Okay.
Now, the arclog files was not listed under obsolete because if you look at the configuration parameters, there is a configuration parameter for arclog deletion policy.
Yes.
So arclog deletion policy and retention policy are different. Retention policy applies to data files, control file and SP file. And the arclog files, you have to set it here. Configure arclog deletion policy too. So for example, if I set configure auto arclog deletion policy to sysdate -1. Okay. Configure arclog deletion policy to back up one time. Something was there. Backed up one time. Yep. Configure arclog deletion policy to backed up one time. No. You cannot go for editor commands and you cannot do any backspace here. So I have to read up everything.
Okay.
Policy to backup. Backed up one time. Expecting one times. Okay. Let me make it as one times. Okay, these all will set the arclog deletion policy. Configure arclog deletion policy to backed up one times to disk. That means once the arclog files are backed up, you can delete it.
Okay.
Now, if I do report obsolete, even now it will show only control file and data files. If you want to report the archive log obsolete files. Report archive log obsolete, I guess. Okay, report obsolete archive log. One second. So this is the command list expired archive log all. This will show you all the expired archive log files. Actually, these archive log files we already deleted them. Hello? Hello?
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello?
So list expired archive log file will show you all the expired archive log files.
Okay.
Next, I'll show you how to create the catalog. So all this information will be stored in the control file till 7 days. If you want to know the information about the backups, if you want to store the information about the backups for more than 7 days, you have to go ahead and create a catalog database. So that means you have to create another database on a different server and on the same server. It's your wish. So what I'm doing is like I have another server, and in this server I have a database called as dev. So I'll show you the steps to create the catalog and to register a database into the catalog. So first we have to create a user. So create user rman underscore catalog identified by Oracle. Default table space. I have another table space called as ts underscore catalog. So I'll be using this one. Quota unlimited. I'll just create the user first. Then I'll assign the unlimited quota. Catalog. Quota unlimited on ts underscore catalog. So this will assign unlimited quota to user rman underscore catalog. After that, you have to assign recovery underscore catalog underscore owner to the user which you created.
Okay.
So these are the steps. First, you have to create a user. We have to assign quota on a table space. After that, you have to assign a role called as recovery underscore catalog underscore owner.
Okay.
After that, you have to connect to the catalog database. So in order to connect to the catalog database, first we have to set the environment to catalog database, which is dev. And then we have to connect to the catalog as rman catalog, and then the username which you created, rman underscore catalog / Oracle. So these are you'll connect to a catalog database, rman catalog and catalog username and password. After that, you have to issue a command create catalog. This will create a catalog. That means this will create some objects under rman underscore catalog user, and those objects will be used to store backup information. So first let us go ahead and check connect rman underscore catalog / Oracle. Select star from user underscore objects. It has no objects, right? Once I issue this command, it will create some set of objects. See, it created some objects, dbms underscore rcv1, dbms underscore rcvcat. Warm. So these objects will be used to store the backup information. Now the catalog is created, okay? So it created some objects. Let us check, select star from tab. This will show me all the tables which are under rman underscore catalog user. So if you see here, all these are the objects which will give me the information about backups.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you go for rc underscore backup underscore data file, it will give you the data files which are backed up. It will give you the size of the backup file and everything. So all these objects will store the information about those backups. It will give you backup piece information, backup files information, backup set information, and if there are any corruptions, it will also show you that you will see it in the feature classes. And yeah, so you can try them out. You can look at by fetching information from those tables, and you can see what information it has. If you see rm underscore configuration, it will have all the configuration values for the parameters which you set. It is similar to $rm underscore configuration when we use a control file. So all the objects starts with RC, saying that it's a recovery catalog underscore, then the object name.
Okay.
Now, once you create the catalog, you have to register the database because you want to store the backup information of different database. Catalog is dev. The target database is demo here. Correct or not?
Yeah.
So I have to register the database demo into this catalog.
Okay.
Before doing that, if I do select, start from rc underscore database. This will show you the databases which are registered in catalog rc underscore database. So there are no databases which are registered into this catalog. And remember, in the real time, you will be having hundreds of databases in your company, and all the databases you will be registering into one catalog. So one catalog will act as a central repository for all the databases. So it will store the information about all the databases in one catalog.
Okay.
So this is how catalog is advantageous, because by connecting to the catalog, you can get the information about all the database backup information. So now no database is registered into the catalog yet. So what we have to do is like we have to connect to the target database also. So I have to connect to target database from dev server. So connect target space sys/oracle at the rate. I have to give the TNS entry. So let us go ahead and check whether we have the TNS entry or not. .inb. Yeah. How do I check it out? First we can invoke TNS ping and we can check whether there is any entry for demo or not. Okay, there is nothing. So let us go into Oracle Home, network admin. Okay, I'll change the test to demo. I have to look at the IP address. Exit. Okay, so this is IP address 1.70. Port is 1524. Service name is demo. Are we all set to go now?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Will I be able to connect to demo?
Listener start here.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and check whether the listener is started or not. PS minus CF grep LSNR. It's not started.
Okay, summer city. Yeah.
Okay, it's listen underscore db maybe. Okay, the reason for that is IP address and etc host file doesn't match. So let me change that. I have to make it to 70. Listen underscore db. Okay, we have to wait until it supports the services. Let us check whether we set the local listener parameter, not show parameter, local underscore listener. Okay, it is set up to 1524, so we are good to go. Just it will take some time. Yes, we are good to go. Dev. So these are will connect to the target database.
Okay.
Connect target c/oracle at the demo. Okay. Can you guess what caused this issue?
Connect the target.
If you want to connect to a database as this user from a remote machine, what is the physical file which is required? Thanks. If you want to connect to a database from a remote machine as this user, what is the physical file which is required? Ashish? Which file is required to connect to a database as this user from remote machine? Password file ఎందుకండి? Hello?
Pass.
What is the purpose of password file? It is required to connect to the database as this user from a remote machine. Because this user cannot be validated with the password which is stored in the database. So that is the reason why we have to have an external file where you will store the password. Much better.
Yeah, good plan.
So we have to check whether we have the password file or not. Oracle home followed by dbs. ls minus ltr. Password file starts with aura pw.
Yeah.
If you see here, I don't have password file related to demo database. So I have to create the password file. Then only it will allow me to connect to the database as this user from a remote machine. So let us go ahead and create the file. Aura pwd space file equal to aura pw demo password equal to oracle. Okay. Now let us go ahead and issue the command. Connect target sys/oracle direct demo. So insufficient privilege, whenever you are getting insufficient privilege when you are trying to connect to the database as this user, that is the cause. Password file is missing.
Password.
Now as I connected to catalog as well as target database, I can register the database here. Register database. This will register the demo database into the catalog. Okay, done. Now let us execute the same command again. So if you see here, db underscore key database name. So demo has been registered into the catalog. Before it was
Okay.
not registered. Now it is registered. Okay, these all will register. If you have n number of databases, you'll connect to n number of target databases and you'll register the database into the catalog. Once you register the database, the backup information will be stored in the catalog. Okay,
Okay.
now let me exit from rman. If you want to connect to target as well as catalog at the same time, we'll be issuing rman target sys/oracle @demo catalog rman underscore catalog /oracle. So this will make you connected to target database as well as catalog database.
Okay.
Okay. Now if I do list backup, will it show me about the backup information? Earlier I took the backup of database, I took the backup of a table space, I took the backup of a data file, correct? So if I do
Okay.
list backup command, will it show me the backup information or not?
I I think no. I mean details it will not give.
Why?
Maybe when we take the backup details. in this.
Did it show or not?
Okay. Yeah.
Why? Because it will access the control file. It will access the control file and it will
Okay.
show the backup which you took. But if you go ahead and check it in, mm, rc underscore backup set underscore details. One second. Describe. Select db underscore name. Stamp completion underscore time. Status from. So even in rc underscore backup underscore set details, it is showing up when the backup was taken. So let us change the alter system, alter session, set nls underscore date underscore
Okay.
format dd mon yy hs24 mi ss. So if you see here, I took the backup of at 11:30, 11:26. So it is showing up the backup information because first time when you register the database into the catalog, automatically it will copy the content from control file and it will store it into the catalog.
Okay.
But now if I from dev itself, from test itself, I'll connect to target rman target slash. I'll do backup data file 4. I'm backing up a data file now at 12:08 p.m. I'm backing up a data file. Okay. Now if I go into the dev database, again if I execute this command, this time will it show me the backup information which it took at 12:08 p.m.? It will not.
Yes.
Only for the first time it will copy the content from the control file. From rest of the time you have to resync it again. So if you're not trying to connect to the target database without using catalog, if you're trying to take the backup of a target database without connecting to the catalog, as I did in the previous case, it will not sync up with the catalog. You need to manually sync up the information into the catalog. In order to do that, we'll issue the command ఇదేంటి ఇంకో టర్మినల్ ఉండాలి కదా యా resync space catalog. This will resync the catalog. This will copy the information from the database, from the target database into the catalog. Now if I execute that here, it will show up the backup which it took at 12:08. In the earlier case it was not shown, right? So you need to manually resync the catalog. Resync space catalog. This will copy the content from catalog, from the control file on the target to the catalog schema. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So once you register a database into the catalog, every time you're trying to take the backup of a target database, you have to connect to catalog as well as you have to connect to target, such that backup information will also be stored into the catalog.
Okay.
So by registering a database into the catalog doesn't mean that backup information will be stored in control file. Yes, even though you register the database in the catalog, backup information will be stored in control file, but it will be there only for 7 days. It will not have the information older than 7 days.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Now let us go ahead and delete all the okay, I'll do one thing. First, list space all. Sorry, show space all. Let us check the configuration parameters now. So if you see here, configuration policy set to redundancy 2. Autofill control file backup parallelism 4, redundancy 2. Okay. So if you see here the configuration parameters, it is obtaining it from demo database. It is not getting it from catalog. This is one of the difference you need to keep an eye on. For example, if you see here, I'll exit from here, rman target slash show all. See the change in configuration parameters. Here backup optimization is on, but here backup optimization is off. So even though you are connected to catalog, it will get the configuration parameters from target database. Okay, these configuration parameters only affect to the target database dev, but not to the catalog dev. Is it clear? So every time you do show all, it will get the configuration parameters from the target database, not from the catalog database.
Okay.
A catalog can be a target database. అదే catalog లో ఇది dev కూడా target database అవ్వచ్చండి. I can connect to dev as a target as well as catalog.
Okay.
ఇక్కడ వరకు క్లియరా? ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా?
యా క్లియర్ అండి. ఇప్పుడు కేటలాగ్ డేటాబేస్ ఉన్న వచ్చేసి డెవ్ కదండి.
అవును.
సో ఆ డెవ్ కూడా మనం లైక్
బ్యాకప్ చేసుకోవాలంటే.
ఓకే, యా దట్స్ ఫైన్. దట్స్ క్లియర్.
కానీ the thing is like if you are using a database as a catalog database, we will not host any applications on the catalog database.
Okay.
So the only thing what we'll do is like we will schedule a data pump backup job such that it will export rman_catalog schema. So if something goes wrong, we can again import it back.
Okay.
But yes, you can also take the backup of catalog database using rman by connecting it to the database as target database.
Okay. లైక్ ఇప్పుడు మేము ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలంటే జస్ట్ సేమ్ డేటాబేస్ లో క్రియేట్ చేసుకుని చేయొచ్చు కదా.
సేమ్ డేటాబేస్ లో అంటే సేమ్ డేటాబేస్ లోనే కేటలాగా?
ఒకే సర్వర్ ఉంది కదా ఇప్పుడు నాకు.
యా చేయొచ్చు, కానీ ఇంకో సర్వర్ క్రియేట్ చేయండి, కావాలి పక్కా.
ఓకే.
యా, ఎందుకంటే అంటే ఇంకా నెక్స్ట్ క్లాసెస్ అన్నిటికీ కావాల్సిందే.
ఓకే. ఓకే.
యా. Next, let me change configure retention policy to redundancy 1. I'm making redundancy as 1, okay?
ఓకే.
After that, I'll do backup database. Now all the previous backup which I took will be obsolete, okay? Because I made redundancy as 1. So this will be the backup which I want, and rest of the backups will be obsolete. So I'll show you how to delete obsolete backups. And can I know where this backup will be stored? If you see here, I am taking a backup of target database, which is demo, which is present on test server. So do you know where the backups will be stored? Whether the backups will be stored on dev server or whether the backups will be stored on demo server?
ఓకే.
It will be stored on demo server. Every time it will be on the target server.
ఓకే.
Because I said, right, whenever you are taking a backup using rman, it will use flash recovery area parameter.
ఓకే.
So it will use the flash recovery area parameter of the target database, not the catalog.
ఓకే.
Now it will store the information in the target database itself, not on the catalog. Okay, done. So let us go ahead and delete the obsolete backup. So to delete obsolete backup, we'll use command delete obsolete. So it will ask whether you want to really delete them. Yes. And then enter. It will delete everything. Okay, done. Now I'll show you if we lose one table space, how to restore it. So let us go ahead and delete one of the table space on the test server. So exit cd. Okay, before doing that, take the backup of archelog also. I haven't taken the backup of archelog yet. So SQL alt system archelog.
కరెక్ట్.
Okay, backup archelog all. Okay, done. Now I'll go ahead and delete one data file. Slash database slash demo cd data files. Let me remove users. Okay, now users data file has been deleted. Let us do some operations. Create table emp underscore xx as select star from okay. So it is saying it is unable to identify the file for user01.dbf. No such file or directory. So data file 4 is corrupted. Okay. So in order to restore this data file, what we have to do is like, first we have to make the data file offline. SQL alter data file 4 offline. You already know that, right? Alter database data file 4 offline.
ఓకే.
Already showed you when I was teaching you about table space management.
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
డేటా ఫైల్ నేమ్ ఇవ్వాలి మళ్ళీ.
లేదు నెంబర్ ఇస్తే అది నెంబర్ ఇస్తే సరిపోతుంది. ఆఫ్లైన్ ఇందాక సెమికాల్ ముందు ఇచ్చేసాను.
ఓకే.
Yeah. So now the data file 4 is offline. We have to first restore the data file. Restore is nothing but copying the data file from the backup. So restore data file 4. Okay. Just let me exit from here. Control C chandaka. So adi effect అయిందన్నమాట.
ఓకే.
First we have to make the data file offline. After that we have to restore the data file. Restore data file 4. So this is reading the file from the backup location /backup/test, and then it will restore the file into /database/demo. Okay, done. Next we have to make the data file online. But before doing online, do we have to perform media recovery or not?
Yeah.
So we have to perform the recovery. So recover data file 4. Done. After that you have to make the data file online. Alter data file 4 online. Sorry, alter database. Alter database data file online. So these will restore and perform a recovery on a corrupted data file. In a similar way, if a table space itself is corrupted, a table space can have multiple data files, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, what we have to do is like we have to make the table space offline using SQL, alter table space name offline, and then we have to restore the table space using restore table space name.
Yeah.
After that, we have to perform recover table space name, and after that you have to make the table space online. SQL alter table space name online.
Okay.
Next, if we let us go ahead and delete all the files. So we'll do a complete database restoration. If the whole database is corrupted, what we have to do? So rm cd demo no slash database slash test data files rm-rf start.dbf. Okay, so all the data files are deleted.
Okay.
So the total database is corrupted. So how to perform the recovery? In this case, we cannot make it. We cannot make all the table spaces offline because even the system table space is gone. So in that case, what we have to do is like we have to shut down the database first. /ssdba. I cannot go for shut immediate actually. It will error out. Okay. So I have to do shut abort. After that, you have to issue startup mount because it will go till mount mode.
Okay.
The control file is there. All the data files are corrupted. Okay. It is supporting the demo service. The database is in mount mode. I'll go to the catalog database. Here I have to exit from rman. because I shut down the database. So that means my connection has already closed. ఇందాక డేటాబేస్ షట్ డౌన్ చేశాను కదా, సో కనెక్షన్
Yeah.
క్లోజ్ అయిపోతుంది. సో మళ్ళీ ఐ హ్యావ్ టు ఇన్వోక్ ద కనెక్షన్ అగైన్. సో ఐ హ్యావ్ టు
Okay.
ఎగ్జిట్ ఫ్రమ్ rman and I have to connect to target and catalog again. I have to do restore database first. So this will restore all the data files.
ఒక చిన్న డౌట్ అండి. ఇప్పుడు ఈ రిస్టోరేషన్ డేటాబేస్ అనేది సపోజ్ లాస్ట్ టైం తీసిన బ్యాకప్ కాకుండా ప్రీవియస్ ఎస్టర్డే తీసిన బ్యాకప్ చేయాలనుకోండి.
యా అదే అంటిల్ టైం యూజ్ చేయాలి. అప్పుడు అంటిల్ టైం యూజ్ చేస్తే ఆ బ్యాకప్ తీసుకుంటుంది.
ఓకే ఓకే.
సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నిన్న తీసుకున్నారు బ్యాకప్, ఈ రోజు తీసుకున్నారు బ్యాకప్. మీరు రీస్టోరేషన్ ఈ రోజు వరకు చేయాలంటే ఈ రోజు బ్యాకప్ కావాలి.
ఓకే.
యూ కెనాట్ గో ఫర్ ప్రీవియస్ బ్యాకప్. మీరు కనుక రీస్టోరేషన్ నిన్నటి వరకే కావాలనుకున్నారు అనుకోండి, then you'll go for until time. As a result, rman will automatically go for the previous day backup. So it is intelligent enough to decide which backup it needs to use.
ఓకే.
అదే మాన్యువల్ బ్యాకప్ లో అయితే మీరు డిసైడ్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏది యూజ్ చేయాలని. Okay, we have to perform the recovery. And then SQL alter database open. Done. So these are will restore the entire database. Now we'll see how to restore database if the control files are corrupted. rm-rf control 01.ctl. Let me check whether I multiply the control files or not. Okay, I don't have any multiplus control file. Now the control file is corrupted. So chat about even if the control file is lost, we have to shut down the database and we need to start up the database in no mount mode. Then only you can restore the control file. Okay, let us check the listener status now. See here, in previous case when the database is in mount mode, it said the service was ready state. When the database is in open mode, the service was ready state. But now in this case, the service state is blocked. The reason for that is the database is in no mount mode. Only instance is started. As a result, the service status will be in blocked state. Now, can we connect to the blocked state service or not? Let us go ahead and check it out. Exit from here.
Yeah.
You cannot connect. When the service is in blocked state, you cannot connect to the target database. Okay?
Okay.
In order to avoid these kind of problems, we have to add a static entry into the listener. By adding a static entry into the listener, irrespective of the database status, the service will be in ready state.
Okay.
So how to add a static entry into the listener? So go to the server, cd oracle_home, listener.ra. So to add a static entry into the listener, we have to add an entry with sid underscore list underscore listener name. So there is a block called as sid underscore list underscore listener. Here sid underscore list underscore listener name. The listener name is listener underscore db, correct? So I have to make it as
Yeah.
listener underscore db, sid underscore list underscore listener name. After that, I have to specify the sid names for which I want to configure a static entry. So the sid name is, what is the sid name here?
Demo.
Yeah, the Oracle SID is demo. So I have to make it SID underscore name as demo. And then what is the Oracle home? So I have to specify the Oracle home also. Slash Oracle slash app Oracle product 1120 db underscore, what did we mention? db1. So this is my Oracle home.
Okay.
And then we doesn't require any program here. Can delete this entry and we can delete this entry. That's it. And we have to close the brace. Another one. So these will make a static entry into the listener. SID underscore list underscore listener name. After that SID list, SID description. Within the SID description, we'll specify the SID name and Oracle home.
Okay.
Once you make this, irrespective of database status, it will add another service with status ready. So in order to make the changes affected, we have to reload the listener. Reload listener underscore db. Okay. Now let us go ahead and check the status. Okay. Now if you see here, one of the service is blocked, which is from the previous entry. Now the another entry is added with the status unknown. So whenever so static entry list, the static entry will have a status as unknown. And using that unknown status, you can connect to the database. So now let me invoke the session again from catalog. This time we'll succeed in connecting to the database. See, I'm able to connect. So whenever your database is in no mount mode, by default, a listener will not allow you to connect to the database. If you want to connect to a database from a remote machine when the database is in no mount mode, we need to add a static entry into the listener.
Okay.
Now we have to restore the control file. Think that we are not using catalog. Okay, just take a scenario, we are not using catalog and the control file, we lost the control file. Now how can I restore the control file? Because the backup information is stored in control file, right?
Yeah.
So whenever I'm issuing restore backup or restore data file or recover data file, it is actually accessing control file to get the backup information, and it will decide which file needs to be used based upon that information. But now the control file itself, we lost the control file. The control file itself is missing. Now how rman will decide from which location it has to restore the control file? There is no information because the control file is lost. So in that case, we have to restore the control file by specifying the location. We need to manually specify the location for rman. rman కి తెలియదు కాబట్టి.
ఓకే
So for that we have to actually go for restore control file from, and then we have to specify the location where the control file is present. But here, as we have the catalog, we can just do restore control file. That's it. If you don't have a catalog, we have to go for restore control file from, and we have to specify the location.
ఓకే
Okay, now the control file is restored. Do we have to perform recovery or not? Control file SN number, data file SN number match అవుతుంది కదా. Control file ఏమో పాతది, data file ఏమో latest. So match అవుతుంది కదా. So we have to perform recovery, right?
Yeah.
So in order to perform the recovery, what we have to do? First we have to check what is in which status the database is in. Select
Okay.
status from $V instance.
No amount.
Okay, it will not give you the output. So let us go ahead and check it out here itself. Yeah. Select status from $V instance. In which state it will be in? No mount or mount?
Control file restore. No amount status.
Yeah. So it is in no mount mode. We need to first mount the database. In mount mode only we can perform the recovery.
Yeah.
So we have to mount the database. SQL alter database mount. Okay, the database is mounted. We have to perform the recovery. Recover database. Okay, the database recovery is completed. Now, how to open the database? SQL alter database open. That's it.
Open.
Do we have to go for reset logs or not?
Yeah. Control file last reset
Yeah.
last.
So let us do alter database open. We'll see what happens. So we have to use reset logs whenever we restore the control file from the backup.
Correct.
Alter database open. Reset logs. And if you see here, we executed several commands in rman in order to perform the restoration and recovery. First thing is, we connected to the catalog and target. After that, we should restore control file. After that, we should SQL alter database mount. After that, we should recover database. After that, we should SQL alter database open reset logs. Correct? So if you want to specify all the things at once, you can do that using run block. So in rman, we can specify run block. Within the block, you can specify all the commands which you want to execute.
Okay.
Just you can execute it all at once. Okay.
Okay.
Now the last thing is, we can perform all this recovery. You can perform it with manual backup approach. Correct?
Yeah.
There is one advantage with rman. For example, if you have a table of 1 GB and within that 1 GB only 3 blocks are corrupted. 3 blocks and then 24 KB.
Yeah.
24 KB of data is corrupted. You have an option to just recover the 24 KB. You can do a block level recovery using rman.
Oh,
Even we can repair just the blocks. You can perform a recovery at block level using rman. So let me show you that. So let us first, in order to perform a block recovery, we have to corrupt some of the blocks. So we'll see what blocks needs to be corrupted. So I have a table. Let me connect to Spot user. Is it emp underscore demo, the bigger table? Select counter star from emp underscore demo. I guess it's emp underscore demo only. Doesn't have anything. ఓ ఆ రోజు మనము టెంప్లో చేసాం కదా యా కౌంటర్ స్టార్ అది ఇన్సర్ట్ చేసా కానీ ఆ రోజు కమిట్ చేయలేదు
okay.
కౌంటర్ స్టార్ ఫ్రమ్ టెంప్ okay I have a table called as temp and it has around 9 lakh rows. First I have to decide I mean like what blocks are related to temp object. So which view will give me about blocks which are allocated to temp table? Any idea? dba underscore extends will show you how many blocks are allocated, what is the extent size, and what is the block ID.
Okay.
Select. First let us describe db underscore extends. Select segment underscore name, table space underscore name, extent underscore id, block underscore id, comma blocks from db underscore extends. Oh, I have to
Okay.
filter it where segment underscore name equal to temp. Okay, so basically temp has several blocks, almost chala blocks ఉన్నాయి.
Yeah.
Call space segment underscore name for 8 10 is more than enough. Okay, so there are a lot of blocks allocated for temp object. Now let us go ahead and delete some blocks. So starting from 27264 to 27392, all blocks are corresponding to temp object. Okay,
Okay.
so let us go ahead and delete some blocks starting from 27265. So in order to delete the blocks, we'll use an operating system utility called as dd, and by specifying the block numbers we can corrupt some of the blocks.
Okay.
Using this command we will corrupt the blocks. So first we have to specify the output file name. So first the temp file is present in users table space. That means it is users data file. So let us exit from here. cd // data files. Okay, here we have to dd space output file equal to user01.dbf space block size is 8192, right? 8k block size.
Yeah.
And then we have to seek equal to, we have to specify the block number which you want to corrupt. So I want to go ahead and corrupt the block 28673. Okay,
Okay.
28673. and we have to specify convert equal to no trunk. This will corrupt the blocks. Oh, I have to specify this also, I guess. Less than end of file. Okay, let me control C it here. Okay, none of the blocks are corrupted. Okay, I have to change the command. I have to assign end of file to. Okay, this will corrupt. Less than. No. Records in, records out. Okay, the block is actually corrupted only. This command itself corrupted one block 28673. In a similar way, let us go ahead and corrupt one more block 28674. I guess it's corrupted or not. అర్థం కావట్లేదు. Okay, based upon this output, I guess it is corrupted. Okay. Now, SQL plus /sdba alter system flush buffer underscore cache alter system flush. I'm flushing everything from the memory.
Okay.
Okay, now if I do select star from scout.test temp, right?
Yeah.
It's getting alter table. Table name is temp. Table name, validate structure. C/. This command will show you if there are any blocks corrupted. This will validate. So it is saying Oracle data block is corrupted. The block corrupted is 28673. Okay. Hello. Hello. Okay. So analyze table name, validate structure will give you whether the table is corrupted or not. Now if you want to get detailed information, v dollar select star from v dollar backup underscore corruption. Okay, this is not showing anything, so better go ahead and validate the structure and it will show you the block is corrupted. Now in order to perform the block level recovery, what we have to do is like we'll go to the catalog, we'll connect to the database and target. It is already connected, so recover block, recover data file number is 4, block number is 28673.
Yeah.
28673. So could not translate database keyword. Okay, block consume command open contact. Okay, it's block recover data file 4 block 28673. Block could not translate database keyword, database not set. Okay, let me exit from here. Let me connect again. Block recover data file block number correct. So it is repairing the block. Only one block it will repair.
Okay.
So either you can validate the structure in order to get the corruption information, what are the blocks corrupted, or else there is another option. Let me show you that also. Okay, it is done. Let me validate the structure again from the database perspective. Let me validate the structure again. Unless table name, validate structure. This time, will it show me any blocks corrupted, or will it give me a clean object? Any idea?
Another block also we corrupted,
Yes,
right?
yes. So
Yeah.
it has to show 28674.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's now showing up 28674. So we have to recover 28674 also. Even by using this also we can validate
Okay.
any corrupted blocks or not. So either you can use analyze object name validate structure, or you can go for validate data file.
Delete data. Yeah.
Validate data file gave me an output saying that look at this trace file. So I opened this trace file, and if you see here,
Mm,
28674 is corrupted.
yeah.
Next, select star from v dollar backup underscore corruption. This actually this also needs to show up. I don't know why it's not showing up.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have to recover the 28674 also. Let us go ahead and recover that file too. And if you see here, apart from the trace file, it is also showing up something over here. It said file number 4 failed 0 empty blocks high SCN. Hmm. The status it's showing as failed. So if the status is failed, that means the blocks are corrupted. Some of the blocks are corrupted.
Okay.
And you have to look at the trace file to get the information about those blocks. Now let us go ahead and perform the block recovery again. Block recover data file 4 block 287
28674.
అంతేనండి.
Yeah.
28673 28674. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let us go ahead and validate the structure again. Now it should come up clean. It should come up as a clean object. So if there are no corrupted blocks, it will just say no rows returned. The table analyzed. So that means the object is good. So this is how we can perform a block level recovery. Block recover, data file number, block number. Okay.
Okay.
I'll run up the class and I'll continue on Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay then.